Do Good Work Podcast, hosted by Terrell Strayhorn and Jaquin Johnson. We specialize in taking a deep dive into issues that truly matter. Each episode unpacks the challenges and opportunities facing today's leaders, from classrooms to boardrooms, offering insights that inspire real change. By redefining success, we're changing lives, empowering people everywhere to create environments where everyone feels a sense of belonging, whether at home, work, or school. So hey, sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we explore the issues shaping our futures, one meaningful conversation at a time. Let's go! Welcome to Do Good Work Podcast, hosted by Terrell Strayhorn and Jaquin Johnson. We specialize in taking a deep dive into issues that truly matter. Each episode unpacks the challenges and opportunities facing today's leaders, from classrooms to boardrooms, offering insights that inspire real change. By redefining success, we're changing lives, empowering people everywhere to create environments where everyone feels a sense of belonging, whether at home, work, or school. So hey, sit back, relax, grab your favorite beverage, and join us as we explore the issues shaping our futures, one meaningful conversation at a time. Let's go!
All right. Welcome to Do Good Work Podcast. Super excited to see folks joining in, and welcome to the November 23rd broadcast show. I'm your co-host, Terrell Strayhorn, coming to you for what promises to be an exciting episode. Going to go ahead and start, how we do, like and share, and certainly drop the chat to those who are interested in tuning in. I'm kick it over to my co-host, Jaquin. How you doing?
Doing well. Yourself?
I am fantastic. Cannot complain.
Love
Excited, full of everything.
Well, you know how we start the show, describing your day or week with a good word. So I give you time to share all on social media. My word this week, Johnson. So J is juiced. I'm energized and motivated by some of the progress I've seen in all the work that we've done individually and collectively. And we got a lot of recognition for our work over the past few days. So happy about that. So J, juiced. Yourself?
Nice. I am spectacular. It's been a really good week. One of those rare weeks that you sort of bump into and you have it and you don't even realize you need it. And so I cannot put into words exactly how all of the week has gone, but it has certainly been a spectacular kind of week where for some reason the word spectacular, spectacle stands out to me tonight. And so spectacles like glasses, seeing is a form of being able to see into prophecy kinds of things. And so it's been a spectacular week where I've seen some things, I've seen some people. And so that's my good word of the week. What is y'all's good word of the week? Drop it into the chat for us so we can propel it across the screen and let folks know what your word is. How's your day been?
Pretty good. I mean, I've been doing a lot of writing today, writing and editing, trying to prepare for the week. I know it's going to be pretty quick because we only work on Monday and Tuesday this week. So trying to finalize some projects to make sure that we're good before we go into the holiday season. Um, Overall, pretty good. That the weather was extremely nice here, so got to sit outside and do some work. But now that it is 7:08 p.m. my time, the temperature has dropped significantly, and you know how I am, so I had to put on a sweater before we even got on the show because I get cold pretty quickly. But other than that, a pretty solid day, productive, and kind of looking forward for these next 2 days before we go into the holiday season. Yourself?
Again, it's just been an amazing set of days. In all transparency, not days that I've wanted to see end, which is rare for me. So I would say today has been really informative. I mean, I started the day catching up with family and friends, and really had a really exciting conversation today about that actually took me to this place of reflection about like what tomorrow is, what the future holds, and how do you know what you want to do, and is it really all about fame and fortune, and what are your sort of values and non-negotiables, and how did you come to decide that the thing you're doing now is the way to get there? And it was with a friend who I love and trust. And so, we both ended up in spaces of just like thinking about, but what if, you could do it this way and do it that way. So it was a good day. And then, of course, I won't speak in code because, folks who follow me on social media know this. I've been in Orlando for the weekend at a set of summits that are coordinated, led by Bishop Dr. E. Bernard Jordan, who's over Zoe Ministries. And, I was telling them today, and you know this because we go to conferences together. Normally when I go to a conference, I'm like, let me get in there, give my talk, do what I'm supposed to do, and then I grab my bag and I'm out. I'll connect with colleagues. I'll certainly go and support my students, but like me going to a conference session and taking out paper or laptop to take notes I haven't done it in so long because I haven't needed to do it in so long. But I find myself this conference, this summit, this gathering, like really annoyed that I have things to do outside of the room because I so badly want to be in the room, because I'm learning, I'm hearing, I'm seeing, I'm being stretched, I'm meeting people who I believe, can support like my next. And so it's been really refreshing to be in a space like that where I can be honest, I haven't felt it in years. So I share with the people today, like, this, whatever it is powerful and transformative because, people, I often say in my keynote lectures that conferences are gathering of like-minded people, but they have a purpose. The reason why people go to conferences is supposed to be to reach consensus, that is to agree to some stuff, and then to learn and change or grow, that is acquire some new information. But how many conferences have we gone to? And it's just like you sit in the sessions and you're not really sure if the title matches the abstract or if the people are sharing anything that you haven't already known. I can honestly say that, I got the receipts to prove it. I got index cards just full of notes of thoughts and ideas. And so I'm grateful that I had this opportunity to sort of stretch and grow in that way. See some words in the chat. All right, we got braced. And then we also have, or maybe it's braised this way, either way. Thank you, Niles. We've got reflective, Crystal Lay. Okay, so hopefully in a moment, Dr. Jordan might come by. If he does, I'm gonna tell him I've already picked up one of the things. He's like, you've got to call out people's names. People want to hear their name. And I've watched him literally sat at his right hand the past couple days. And man, people really, belonging does matter. You know, like people want to know that you see them. I mean, it's like everything we say and everything we write, everything I know I wrote, and many of us have written since, and we write together now. So true. Profound truths that are so simple. I think that's what makes them sometimes problematic, is like people want rocket science, and sometimes rocket science don't look like rocket science. You know, like, gosh, I'm trying to think of the things I can say, but you know, like I watched Dr. Jordan affirm people by saying their name, and resources just flow. And so you might ask yourself, like, why would someone give, or why would someone support, or why would someone contribute? It starts first. So this is to every single person who has said to me in education, in psychology, and education psychology, like, oh my God, he wrote this whole big book, and one of his greatest recommendations is learn people's names. I'm trying to tell you, it matters. Everybody's got one. People want to hear their name. And so, you know, certainly grateful for all of you tuning in. Drop the chat, tell people to tune in. Creola happy because she released her book on yesterday. Congratulations. That's awesome. And I will talk about this hopefully later about what I've learned, but somewhere up here is I could cheer, but I can't figure it out right now. I'm gonna figure it out by the end to cheer for your book. But until then, I go old school on you. There we are. Just super duper happy about that. That we have so much. So yeah, I mean, those are the things that I have been really impressed upon me this week. Yeah. Well, today. What am I talking about this week?
Well, you've been there for a few days. You've learned a lot.
I mean,
you shared a lot.
Yeah. But you know, it's like,
first of all, I'm proud of you for taking notes, because that is so true that you do not go to sessions. And when we do go to and be quiet. Anyway, I'm proud of you for taking notes, for sure.
Thank you for seeing me. And you know, man, it's been surreal, but I know it's for a reason, because I wasn't even supposed to be here. I came on a whim at the invitation of Dr. Jordan, literally almost overnight, and my flight has changed twice. So you know, at some point I must get back. But here's what I'm trying to say to anybody who's listening, anybody who will watch later. If you haven't been in a place that nourished your dreams and made you want to feel like, made you want to do better, made you want more, made you want to try harder, you know, then I'm just trying to tell you, keep going, keep trying, find that place. I wish for everybody who watches the podcast tonight and in the future that you too have that moment, because like, in a very personal, professional, and somewhat spiritual sense, I didn't realize that I haven't been fed in so long. That if you could imagine, I don't know, whoever is listening, right? If you've ever had a time where you went a long period of time without food, didn't have the kind of food you wanted, couldn't eat food because maybe you had a medical condition, maybe you had to fast because you had about to have a dental procedure, whatever it is, whenever you last went without food, if you can remember when you got food that very next time, how, I don't know, the corn just tasted sweeter. The chicken just tasted like it was organic. You know, the bread tasted like cake. You didn't know that you needed what you were getting. That is what this has been for me. And because of it, You just don't want, like, you take your time with the corn when it's really, really good. You don't just rush and eat it real fast. You don't, take the biscuit and just slop it into the soup. You like take it, break it off a little piece, and you want that to last for a bit. And that's what this has been, is like, in some sense of a revival. So I'm leaving more interested, more committed to doing good work. And everything that do good work has been was affirmed by people who know nothing about it, but only learned about it through the platform that Dr. Jordan provided. And they're convinced immediately, like, listen, people's names matter. People want to belong. People are looking for tribe. Tribe activates, so much more. Today, we spent time talking about the fact that, in this world, we spent time talking about counterculture. Now, you probably heard this term, right? Counterculture is like, there's culture, there's counterculture, that which runs counter to the dominant culture, and then subcultures. These are cultures that are subversive and beneath, right? So like, if the culture of society is capitalism, that is, I go after what I want, unfettered competition. I strive to achieve my goal, even if it means stepping on my brother or sister. That's capitalism at its worst, right? Counterculture is when we say no to that unfettered capitalism and say no, it's about connectedness and community and people. And I would never hurt my brother or sister just to achieve my own gain, my own goals. Subculture then is how we start to organize certain movements beneath the surface, because we don't want everyone in the culture to know this is happening, right? Okay, so all that's happening, and before you know it, I'm in a room full of 70 plus people talking about sense of belonging as counterculture. That in this culture where we separate, divide, plant seeds of divisiveness, nobody likes to like someone's post because they didn't like their last post. We're not fostering connections and trust, and we're actually part of this culture where we pit each other against each other. We detached ourselves from people. We try to sow seeds of division. It's all about who you can kick out of the group chat, not include more people into the group chat. It's who you can outpace at work, not who you can support at work. So sense of belonging in its broadest sense becomes countercultural, counter to that culture. And all of us who yearn for belonging, right? And I'll shut up on this. So then people who write about belonging, who are literally writing the instructions for how to find a sense of belonging, you become countercultural leaders of this movement, right? That says we don't have to destroy each other in order for us all to eat. We actually can build a place where we can lift each other up and affirm each other's humanity and shout each other out and celebrate each other's successes, and still all of us eat, be successful, be famous, whatever you want, whatever your end goal is. And I never really framed it that way. But of course, then I'm sitting down with Dr. Jordan. He's like, all right, so let's get together and let's start working on this book. And we're sitting at a computer. And I'm like, what is going on in the world right now? So for anybody who feels that, know that if you are out here trying to support people, celebrate people, affirm people, and you've ever felt like that's against the grain, people are asking, like, why are you doing that? Why are you shouting them out? Why are you going to support them? Why are they, join a fraternity or sorority? Don't you have your own stuff to do? I'm just trying to tell you, it's because it's countercultural.
Yeah, I like that. I think that you make really good points in around, especially that we live in a world where everyone can win, succeed, eat, reach their goals. And regardless of what industry you're in or the line of work that you do, you can assist and help someone else to, get to the mountaintop. But the question becomes that I want to ask us to talk about, because I saw it, I believe the first video you sent me while you were there. What conditions do we need to set to allow ourselves to have conversations to build belonging for others?
You said, what are the conversations?
The conditions that we need to set to have conversations.
Well, let's talk about some of them. And you're right, Tanita, I see you. You don't want to get up from the table when you get what you've been missing. And I don't know who knows what this feels like, but sometimes you can be walking around hungry. When I say hungry or like empty or thirsty, it's not like you're near death. You don't even realize it, that you're as hungry as you are until you get fed. It's not until you get at the table and, I don't know, you sit at the table and someone says, tonight we're having, help me here, Jaquin, you eat animals, pot roast and
Screaming.
vegetables, or tonight we're gonna have pork. What's that stuff called? Pork chops and veggies. And you sit down and you bite into a well grilled, what's that thing called? Well done pork chop, and you realize, man, I miss pork chop. Right? It's not until you get fed that you enjoy it. You ever had that feeling?
Absolutely. But I think what we're kind of getting into right now is needs and expressive and latent, right? You're talking about there are people out there who who you know um, are at the table not knowing that they need to be fed because it's been so long. Well, then my question is, was it expressed? Did they know that they needed to be fed or be around the certain people, or is it latent where they got on a plane last minute to attend a conference or an event or something and realized that conversations and the people that they're around are feeding them, restoring them, bringing them back to life or light?
I mean, I think part of it is, not, yeah, latent need and sort of um, unknown subtle need. It's like sometimes you can be walking around. I mean, we've said this, that their express needs, like, okay, I know I do need to eat tonight. I haven't eaten today yet. But so that's a conscious express need. I can articulate it. But then you have these latent needs that you don't even know you need. Okay, yeah. So you think you need to eat, and then you sit down and you eat, and you're like, okay, that filled me. But it was actually the conversation that happened when you were eating that really nourished you, right? I couldn't have articulated that because I thought I needed to eat in a physical sense, but actually I need to be fed in a spiritual, mental kind of sense. I think that's another pickup from it. So the conditions to me are things like trust. You know, I've been talking about this a lot coming out of my research around relational consistency, and that is trust comes out of relational consistency. It's not that I just met you or I just know you, but rather I know you and I get to know you. I relate with you consistently. We meet on this day. We follow up that evening. We talk in a different setting. We write to each other. So the writing and the talking and the different settings all represent a form of consistency to that relationship that allow me to then let down my guards, be vulnerable, be trusting. I see you in a personal sense. I've also gotten to know you, relate to you in a spiritual sense. So all these domains of relations then give rise to, I think, the conditions that lead to tribe and belonging. Trust, consistency, openness, vulnerability are some of the conditions. What about you?
Yeah, I agree with those. I'll add maybe something that I've seen recently and kind of noticed is respect. I think somebody from Cookbo's calling me. Respect.
You
I
said
think
what?
someone from Cookville is calling me.
I was going to say from Coca-Cola. Okay.
No, I wish. Respect. Yeah, I think that, there are so many people right now who just want to be respected. And it's so common for folks to display disrespect because they don't know someone, or they think they're better than them, rather than just like being open to understanding, extending grace, asking follow-up questions to get a better idea of someone's thought process, or the way they think, or how they act or behave. I think respect is like foundational to the things that you're saying, because without it, then I don't believe that we can build trust or have a consistent relationship.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I mean, this is an old sort of trick habit of it, but some people do trust falls where, you create the conditions where a person would just sort of close their eyes, cross their arms, and fall back and trust that the person behind them would catch them. And so one of the things that Dr. Jordan had some folks do this week was the trust fall. And initially people would not do it. I mean, I've done this in student government associations. I've done it, I've been a participant, I've been a facilitator, and I haven't really seen that many times where people were that hesitant like this. And so one of the things he had me do was to try to use my education in psychology to theorize about why this wasn't happening, and to create the conditions, as we're talking about, where folks would be willing to do it. And so I just remember one powerful moment where I looked at one of the people who would not do it and started talking about what it takes to trust that someone behind you will catch you. And first of all, it's a faith. Sense of belonging is shared faith. I write about that in the book. It's a faith and a belief that my needs will be met. In the case of me falling back, one of my needs is I need someone to catch me, right? So I asked them, one, do you believe that that person has the strength to catch you? Two, why don't you believe, or how did you come to believe that someone can't hold your weight? And then third, when was the last time someone let you fall? And as the tears started falling all across the room and area, people started talking about, they started sharing, like, that hit, right? We are reserved, we're hesitant to fall back and trust that someone can catch us if we've been dropped before, right? And dropped is not only in a physical sense. Sometimes someone dropped the ball on a project. Sometimes someone let us fall, meaning let us fall privately or publicly and didn't come to our rescue, didn't right the wrong narrative about the situation, didn't speak up for you, didn't speak out for you, didn't show up for you, right? All of that is tucked into our being to where it will keep us from depending on others. So then people say things like, well, why you always got to do it yourself? No, it's not about me trying to do it myself. It's that I'm trying to, I've got, just like all of us have, there's a history that we carry with us of people letting us down, people dropping the ball, people not doing it the way that we once imagined. And before we can ever truly feel a sense of belonging and trust in that way again, one, we've got to process that trust and then go back to the relational consistency. Then I've got to also replace that distrust with consistent relationship. I need some people. This is the part I was saying this week. I need some people to show up for me. I need some people to pick it up. I need some people to not let me down, right? So that I can start to know that every time I lean back, there's someone who can catch me. And I know, like, as Christians, we're fortunate that we don't have to depend on man, because we have God who will always catch us and never let us fall. But we live with men and women. We work with men and women. We teach men and women who shape that experience for us. And so part of being able to find a sense of belonging is about trust. To be able to trust, you've got to deal with the distrust. And I think one of the things we don't do well enough in communities of color is we don't articulate, lay bare, admit, confess that there's some distrust there. And I'm gonna shut up on this one. But two of the people who we were trying to do this workshop with kept saying like, well, I mean, because I know you did this to me before, but I'm over it. And this other one said, well, yeah, I know a couple years ago you did this to me before, but I let go of that. Then why didn't you fall back? If you let it go and it wasn't an issue, you should be able to close your eyes, fold your arms, and fall back and trust them. So one of the things I literally said to them was, when are you going to stop lying to yourself and to them and let them know you don't trust them? Why does distrust have to be a bad thing? It's just a thing. Now, you don't want to stay there, right? But you can honor the fact that like, hey, look, I've got some issues. I've got a history. You told me you were going to do this and you didn't do it. And I'm able to forgive you, but I first of all need to name it. I need to talk to you about it, have this exchange. And through that exchange comes understanding. And with understanding comes a peace that surpasses all understanding, but there's a peace about it that allows you, I think, to then have trust again. Like, I remember one time you and I had this situation where we had a meeting and you didn't get to show up for it. And I remember being frustrated at first, but I was mostly like hurt. I felt some kind of way is the way we would talk about it. But because we're such good friends, of course, I'm going to bring it to your attention and be like, hey, look, this happened. And one of the things I realized was happening to me around that time was I was starting to distrust. Could I ever have faith that if you say you're going to come, you're going to come. If you say you're going to do it, you're going to do it. And then some days I sit back and I think about like how such good friends we are and how, what we've overcome and how I do trust you. And I wonder like, how did that happen? 'Cause I remember sometimes I'd be like, I ain't going to trust him no more. He tell me this. But it's the power of trust and distrust. It's the power of communication and language and vulnerability and honesty. Even when man is upset, when people are upset with each other, they say, well, I'm never going to do this. I'm never going to talk to you again. I'm going to block you. But you don't know what you're going to do. When you bring it to a person and the person communicates their humanity to you and you affirm like, you know what? I know what it's like to oversleep. I know what it's like to double book. But he gave me the gift of the conversation. So at least I'm not sitting here trying to figure it out by myself. I now know through his words what happened, and I can resonate and relate to those words. And through that relationship, I think comes resolution that allows you to say, all right, then tomorrow I'm gonna get back up and trust again. Yeah. And I think a lot about that in the sense of the kinds of conditions that we're trying to create for belonging is how do we create a space where, like we do a lot in education. Some of the reasons why students can't feel a sense of belonging in school or in college is because somebody let them down in school. The reason why a student can't really get with the teacher is because they've had a teacher let them down. Believe that everyone on this side is capable of learning, but everyone on this side is not capable of learning. Tell a student, I had a calculus teacher in 12th grade. On my test, she wrote dumb move. What math teacher writes dumb? What teacher writes dumb on a student's paper? Right? Could have, listen, y'all, it was my calculus teacher, which is a type of math, could have knocked me out of my, I could hate math to this day because of that. Because I could have internalized her message from a teacher telling a student you're dumb. I could have walked out of 12th grade calculus believing, man, I'm dumb. I can't do numbers. Why do I know I can't do numbers? Because a woman who is a math teacher told me I'm dumb. No, it wasn't that I made a mistake. I second guessed myself. And by second guessing myself, I led myself down a path to the wrong answer. Just a wrong answer. It's not an indictment on my intelligence. But because of that, as a quantitative researcher to this day, had I listened to that teacher it would have kept me from a whole career that's been shaped by numbers. The conditions have to be a place where we watch the language, we watch the messages, we watch the words, we build conditions of trust.
Yeah, you make a really, I appreciate that example, but I want to add that I think these conditions are co-created.
Yep.
One person cannot be the one trying to create the conditions and push and promote and nurture if the other person is not willing to get in the ring with them and build it with them. You know, for the example with you and I, you know, I think if I'm recalling correctly about this situation, I overslept for one of our meetings. I think you sent me a text message, and I had to sit with your words and understand that it was coming from a good place, and then respond with not excuses, not deny you the conversation, not no text back, you know, but being open, honest, and transparent. Like transparency to me is go ahead and naming it for what it is without you probing or asking. Because without the conversation, then you're left wondering, trying to put the pieces together. And you're never really going to get it. I mean, you may get some parts right, but you're not going to get the full puzzle completed. Because I have something that will allow you to complete that puzzle. So, for example, I believe that it will go unnamed, but kind of use the same strategy, right? I had someone who told me that they will be there. We kind of planned it together. We said we're going to do it together, and I believed them. I trusted them. I wanted them to be there. And the day of, they didn't show up. But honestly, that was hurtful. Now, let me tell you, I said I was going to push it under the rug. It is what it is. I don't care. But then the more and more I thought about it, like, you got to understand what it does to someone, right? Especially when you do care about them and you do love them and you do want to see them succeed, that you go days and weeks wondering what happened, if it was you, if you caused it, could you have done something differently? And then when you address what happened as clear as possible without naming or blaming, and met with coldness and the guard being up, I think it's really hard for one to kind of nurture that space to have a conversation and resolve it together.
Yeah, I think conversation and words are, we've talked a lot about language, communication, conversation in this conference. And I've always believed that words are really powerful and kind of like incredible, because without them, you can't really know what's up, what a person feels, how they feel. But words can be really transformative in a way, and can make or break kind of like the difference between whether or not a person sees themselves as, you know, good or bad, you know. And I think a lot of times people hurt each other through their words because, yeah, exactly. About, you know, life happens and people should offer grace when they expect it as well. But you know that, Dr. Freeman, they rarely do people do that. You know, I found that people want grace, but don't know how to give grace to others. And I mean, sometimes we don't know how to give grace to ourselves, so we'll go out of our way giving grace to everybody else. But then when we make a mistake or we slip up or we forget something or we, you know, have something, we don't know how to forgive ourselves, let ourselves be human in this condition. And so I think one of the conditions we have to create, maybe one around acceptance, self-acceptance, acceptance of others. I think all of that kind of correlates with forgiveness. I think the other that we ended up talking about that activated my brain about it is like, we have to do something. One of the conditions for belonging is agency, right? So it's not like I find a sense of belonging because it just happens to me. It's not passive. In the book, I write about it being behavioral, meaning there are things that we do to belong, and then there are things that we can do because we belong, right? So a lot of times people want to be included though they don't go. They want to be included though they don't show up. They want to be included. Check your phone, Jay. They want to be included though they don't, buy the t-shirt or buy the ticket to go to the event. And that's not how belonging happens. You have to do something for what you want. And I'm finding more and more that that's speaking to people in ways that I once did not anticipate. I'm up. Yes.
Screaming.
Which part?
All of it.
I don't know what you're laughing at. Wait, what I just said or what I text you?
Oh, what you just said.
Okay. Yeah, it's like, I think people want it, but they don't want to do anything for it. And the one thing about belonging is it's important. It matters. And things that are important and that matter don't come freely. Y'all are seeing me sit here real time trying to adjust my location. So that's what's happening here. Go ahead, Jay.
Well, the beauty of it is, I agree. I think that we all want grace, want to receive grace, and we should extend it. Wholeheartedly agree with that. But I know that, you have to wrap up, get to your next location in that loud ass environment. So
I'm screaming.
What's one takeaway from this conversation you have for us?
For me, it's that, nourish yourself, nourish your soul, get what you know. Belonging matters, but and belonging is important. It transcends. Everybody wants to belong. There's lots of reasons to want to belong, but give yourself what you need in order to find connections, be in community with others who celebrate you and care about you and your work.
Love. I think I will add that, I really want to focus on acceptance, and what it means is like accepting people for who they are, just as they are, and how they show up. There may be days where they're down, maybe days that they're up, but meet them where they are and accept them for their blemishes and bruises, because at the end of the day, there are people trying their very, very best to do their best. And there is no need for us to only love someone when they are doing something for us, but love them when they need us and they don't have anything to offer. Accept people for who they are. Find ways to be kind. Find ways to offer a hand. Find ways to compliment someone. Find ways to use someone's name correctly in a conversation, or find ways to compliment someone. Find ways to shout out someone, whether in the boardroom, in the classroom, via text. I think these things that people need to hear. I say that because there are people out there, and I end on this. There are people out there who will pay to hear a compliment.
Yeah.
They will pay money for someone to say something good to them when we can do it for free.
So as you go out this week, I'm going to ask you all to do what you normally do. Don't be afraid to do good work. Be kind. Do something good for those. Do something big. Do something major. Do something small. But whatever you do, make sure that you do good work. Peace.
Thank you for tuning in to Do Good Work Podcast. We hope you found today's conversation informative, uplifting, and insightful. Don't forget to like and share this episode with your networks. Follow us on social media at Do Good Work on X, formerly Twitter, for real-time updates, behind-the-scenes content, and so much more. Until next time, friends, don't be afraid to do something, but do something good. Do good